Fox is an aggressive rushdown character who excels at changing between staying in the opponent's face and playing a hit and run game. With this great movement speed and frame data, combined with him having the fastest fall speed in the game, it allows him to play reactive and get where he wants at a quick pace. He can make his opponents second guess about when and where he will attack, and with the rest of his other strengths, it makes him have one of the best neutrals in the game. If he's able to pressure his opponent effectively, he can heavily control the pace of the game by making them fall prey to his mix-ups and fast in and out movement. And when he's in the advantage, he can rack up damage at a blinding rate with his plethora of offensive strings. One of the fastest characters in the game. Able to apply great pressure. Good overall damage output. Excellent burst options. Great overall block and whiff punishment. Excluding his specials, only one move is higher than frame 10. Good mix-ups due to his fall speed. Amazing ledge trapping. Anti-zoning and camping tools such as lasers and shine. Good raw kill power. A lightweight character, meaning he can lose his stock extremely early. Throw game is subpar overall. Without a kill throw, Fox may have to go for raw attack reads if the opponent turtles up or is out of his kill confirm range. Though his recovery goes a good distance, it is very linear and exploitable. Susceptible to combos due to being a fast faller. Risky edge guarding game, which can get him reversaled if he misses due to his slow recovery. Needs precision to play well, even more so at higher levels of play. Fox's jab is a good move for tacking on decent damage at low percent, and it's also his fastest move. It is mainly used as a combo ender, but it can also be a solid option in the neutral since it is great at catching spot dodges, checking grabs, and testing your opponent's patience in their shield. You can also chase them down after the move if they missed the tech, or depending on how they DI. There isn't much of an opening in between the hits, so it can make the move a bit annoying to deal with. And if you catch them at the ledge, you can hold down the jab for even more damage. Your opponent does have some room to SDI out, so be sure to notice how much damage you can get to prevent them from falling out. Also, the jab finisher is very punishable when it's blocked, so don't throw it out recklessly if your opponent is staying patient in their shield against it. There are mix-ups you can do to get around your opponent holding shield, such as holding the rapid jab to possibly throw off their punish timing, or not going into the rapid jab at all if they're respecting you, which could give you the chance to put on more pressure. They can get around this, such as either rolling behind you if their character goes far enough on it, or simply jump around you if they have room. Do keep note that Bowser and Shulk can completely go through your rapid jab with Tough Guy and Shield Art respectively, and can punish you for using it, so make sure you're always aware of this when fighting either of these characters. Forward tilt is a good low end like poking tool that slightly moves Fox forward and can be angled up or down. It is not used as often compared to his other moves, but it can still have its uses like getting small chip damage, starting small strings at low percents, and setting up tech situations. Hitting your opponent around the 50 to 100% range will generally put them in a tech situation, allowing you to possibly put on additional pressure. And if they miss the tech, you can go into a jab lock setup or any follow-up of your choice. Although it is generally not safe on shield at -10 or -11, spacing it will make you avoid low ranged or slow out of shield options. If your opponent isn't being mindful of your spacing, it will allow you to get a punish if you see a whiff. Forward tilt can also be pivot cancel for extra distance, turning it into a decent burst option. So if you have your tech chases down pat, or if your opponent does not deal with them very well, using this move can definitely help you take advantage of that. Fox's up tilt is a vital tool for him starting his offense. It's an extremely fast vertical move that has hitboxes behind and in front of Fox, which send the opponent at different angles depending on what hitbox they get hit by and whether they're on the ground or in the air. Coming out at frame 3 behind Fox and frame 6 in front of him, It makes it great at racking up damage since it is able to link into itself and other moves, and it also serves as a good anti-air against your opponent if they try to jump in on you. Up tilt makes it hard for characters without a fast move to get out of it, and if they try to escape your strings prematurely, it could lead to even more offensive pressure. However, your opponent can mix up their DI to try to get out of it quicker, and combined with the different hitboxes of the move, it is key to notice where they get sent so you can properly follow up. Do be careful using it at low percent, as they will most likely have time to get back to the ground and shield, and it is quite punishable when it's blocked. Up tilt can be safe to low range out of shield options when done around max range, which can give you the opportunity to punish your opponent if they get impatient out of shield. Do note that characters with fast panic moves like Mario or Yoshi can stuff you out of your strings if they're not true, and trading usually does not end up in Fox's favor. You can combat this by either shielding their attack, parrying it, or simply dashing out of the way if you have enough room. Parrying is usually the most rewarding option for Fox, as he is probably the best character at converting off of it. Being able to do a fast move such as another up tilt or dash attack out of it can definitely make your opponent hesitate about how they try to attack you. They can change up their attack timing, air dodge out, or jump out of the way if they're aware of your parry attempts, and dropping shield can make you exposed to getting punished if you get predictable with it. It's important to understand how your opponent wants to escape being juggled, so that you'll be able to keep your advantage going as long as possible. Down tilt is a sweep that sends the opponent at an upward angle. The sweet spot is on the inside of Fox's tail, and it is an excellent move for him starting and extending combos to get good damage. Your opponent can DI away if they're ready for it, but in most cases, it will more than likely put you in a position to combo if you read their DI, or put you in an advantageous position. It is unsafe on shield if done point blank, so don't go crazy with it since it can get you punished. If done around max range, it can be safe from most out of shield attempts, but you do lose the ability to combo since it will send the opponent more away from you. Down tilt can also be good in the corner since it can hit some characters hanging on the ledge, or it can put your opponent off stage with a proper follow-up, and possibly even take a stock. To sum it all up, this move can be used in a similar fashion to forward tilt when it comes to poking, but you have much more of a bigger combo window if you land it. More of down tilt's combo utility will be shown later in the combo section. Dash attack is one of Fox's main go-to moves in the neutral, and is one of the best burst options in the game due to its speed. It stays out for a total of 12 frames, and it is used for combos, whip punishes, and can even catch your opponent out of their landings. It is really the backbone of Fox's game plan and what makes him so scary in the neutral, as even the slightest misstep by your opponent can have them eating this move. If you're close to your opponent, the key thing to do with dash attack is doing it instantly. As soon as you start your dash, you want to immediately press your C-stick forward, which further improves the insane burst utility it's known for having. Though if done incorrectly, you'll end up doing a forward smash or tilt depending on what your C-stick is set to. Dash attack can really start a heavy offense that could make your opponent want to escape your strings prematurely, which again could lead to reads or frame traps, and make your strings even longer. If you hit them while under a platform, it will force them into a tech situation at a certain low percent range, and allow you to put on additional damage or pressure. It can also combo into an up smash for a possible kill confirm at high percent, when you have to hit with the late hitbox of the move. Don't be too predictable with dash attack, as it is very unsafe on shield, and it's also quite linear. Be sure to mix up your options or the timing of your approach if your opponent is looking out for it, or even try to overextend to catch them if they retreat. You also have the chance to cross up their shield if you hit close enough to it, and it can be done pretty consistently depending on the character you're going against. However, it has little to no chance to work on characters with bigger body frames like Donkey Kong or Ridley. If you do get the cross up on your opponent, it can potentially throw off their punish attempt in front of them, and it's even better against characters who don't have an out of shield option that covers well behind them. The cross up isn't something to bank on happening too much, since it is generally harder for it to do so compared to past games. If it does happen, make sure to notice it quickly so you can capitalize on your opponent's potential mistake. Up smash is the main way for Fox to get his KOs. It's a whip punisher, an anti-air, and a great out of shield option all in one, and it's also part of his main kill confirm that we'll get into soon. With its raw kill power and burst speed, it's a move that should be feared by your opponent when they're at high percent, and being able to take stocks in a myriad of ways with it makes it that much more potent. If you get a good read on your opponent's defensive habits, Fox's speed can make it even more scary whenever you tech chase with it, or just straight up chase down characters that try to run away. On top of all that, it has insane range, reaching even low-heighted platforms like on Battlefield, Pokemon Stadium, and Light Cruise. Up Smash also has a late hitbox behind Fox that sends the opponent away from him. While it can kill near the side blast zone, it is far weaker than the sweet spot, and is more than likely not done on purpose. Despite this move's amazing strengths, it has one major flaw, and that it is extremely punishable if it's blocked or whiffed. This makes it very high risk, high reward, because if Fox starts struggling to close out the stock, it's possible the player gets antsy and starts throwing it out without any kind of setup. Not having a kill throw hurts him more in these kind of situations, so it is important for Fox to let the stock come to him if the opponent starts staying in shield, which means having to mix in some throws at times. Having a frame 8 out of shield kill move combined with his movement is also very beneficial for him if the opponent does any unsafe option on the shield. Be aware when you're using it out of shield, as your opponent can play around it by doing a safe move on your shield or space their moves outside of its range, so don't get baited. Forward Smash is Fox's strongest horizontal move, and has surprisingly good range horizontally and vertically. Its main use is to take stocks in situations where Up Smash can't, which is mostly near the ledge. It's great at catching regular get-ups, and can even catch ledge jumps if the opponent isn't wary of its range. If you have a good read on your opponent's ledge options, or just their general habits, don't be afraid to go for it since it can potentially net you an early stock, which can be huge for Fox. The window to land it at the ledge can be tight, due to it being a bit slow and the sweet spot only lasting for one frame, so make sure to practice the timing if you're going to use it often. It can reach below the ledge against certain characters, but it is generally not used for that situation since you will hit with the sour spot, and Fox has other moves that are faster and do the job better. Do be aware of the situation if you use it at the ledge. Even though it is the safest between all of Fox's smash attacks, you are still at risk of getting punished if it's blocked or whiffed. Down Smash is Fox's fastest smash attack. While it is the weakest of the three, it can be used in situations where the others wouldn't be fast enough to hit. Given that it hits on both sides, it can cover multiple options in tech chases, but it's mostly going to be used to 2-frame and hit below the ledge. Down Smash has intangibility on Fox's legs, which is why it makes it his go-to ledge punishing move. It can also send your opponent at a pretty nasty angle to where they'll surely have to recover low, which could give you the small chance to edgeguard characters with average recoveries. It does have similar total frames to Up Smash, so if you miss it at the ledge, you can easily get punished for it. It is also just as unsafe on shield as well, which is why it is a pretty situational move overall. Arguably his best move, neutral air is similar to dash attack when it comes to starting offense, but it is much better at applying shield pressure, setting up combos, and spacing around your opponent. It really centralizes Fox's neutral as a whole since it has a long-lasting hitbox, and it can be easy for your opponent to get hit by it if they're not careful. Like dash attack, it comes out at the same speed at frame 4, and makes it your best out of shield option, which is frame 7 after the jump squat. It can be a great burst option while running, and can hit your opponent out of the air or ground if they try to run in on you. If they shield it, you can drift forward to potentially cross them up for more block strings, or punish them for dropping shield. Neutral air is also going to be part of your main kill confirm with the late hitbox, and it's important that you fast fall with this so you have as much time to go into up smash, or go into another move if you're not in kill percent range. However, your opponent could get hit too close to the ground, or out of range for up smash, so be sure to always notice the distance between you and your opponent before pulling the trigger, just in case you have to turn it into a tech chase instead. You can also use the late hitbox to lock your opponent at low and mid percents, which will allow you to put on even more damage. Neutral air is pretty much safe on shield against a lot of the casts at -3 or -4, and combined with they having only 7 frames of landing lag, your opponent generally has to respect this move if they don't have a great out of shield option. Characters with fast out of shield options could punish you for using it recklessly, and if you hit the top of your opponent's shield, they can even shield grab you for it, but you can space it or cross them up to get around this. It's important to attack with neutral or close to the ground as possible so you can decrease the chance of you getting punished. And you want to get an idea of your opponent's habits after you hit their shield so you can counterplay properly. A good opponent isn't always going to let you hit their shield for free though. They can move out of the way to set up a whiff punish, or just simply hit you out of the air, as the range on neutral isn't the best. This is where mixing up your double jump and your fall speed come into play. Changing up the timing of when you'll jump on top of your opponent could throw them off of their attempt to punish you, and since Fox falls down so fast, he can quickly punish even the smallest mistake from high above. You can also use this move to edge guard in certain situations. If you see your opponent without a double jump, or just want to stuff them out, that can give you more of a green light to go off stage and catch them if they're a character that doesn't have a crazy recovery. If you don't want to take as many risks to edge guard, you can simply just stay on stage and ledge trap with it, which also does the job pretty well. It can cover multiple ledge options from your opponent by just simply throwing it out, and with mixing in holding shield and changing up your jump heights, you have the chance to really suffocate your opponent. There are counterplays to this though, such as simply waiting on the ledge or doing a well-timed get-up attack. But if they wait too long, you can just punish them with any move that hits below the ledge. The sheer utility of this move is fantastic, and it's something that Fox should be throwing out a lot in basically any match. Forward air is a multi-hit move that is used in combos and can also be used to anti-air your opponent. It auto-cancels on a full hop, so you can use it to call out your opponent's jumps, while possibly staying out of harm's way at the same time if you miss. Since he hovers in the air, you can also use it to stall your recovery, which can possibly throw your opponent off when they try to edge guard you. This move has other uses as well, and a common one is to use it to quickly get off the ledge. Full hopping it heightens Fox's jump, so it can catch opponents sleeping at the wheel when they're ledge trapping you, or if they miss a 2-frame punish. Don't be reckless with it though, as there is clear counterplay to get around this, such as simply shielding, or dashing out of the way and then punishing. It does have a landing hitbox that comes out on frame 1, so it can possibly be used as a panic move very close to the ground, but you do risk getting punished if you don't land it. Another way to use forward air is fast falling it in between hits to make your opponent fall out. You want to fast fall it before the final hit, and this is useful in setting up tech situations if you hit your opponent mid-air. You'll be able to possibly put on more pressure if they do tech, or go into a jab block setup if they miss it. This can also be used to edge guard as well, and if they're without a jump, you'll most likely take the stock if you land it. It's good against characters who don't have great recoveries, and it can even trade against the ones that don't have large hitboxes with the first hit of the move. Do be careful going off stage. This can be risky, and it does leave you open to getting reversal if you miss, so only go for it if you are feeling confident about getting the edge guard. Back air is another one of Fox's main neutral tools, and is also a secondary KO option for him. It's great for keeping the opponent at bay when they try to run in on you, and at applying pressure in the corner due to its safety and kill power. It can catch them jumping off the ledge, and with it auto-canceling on short hop, it can let you quickly cover another ledge option your opponent may do. You can also use this as a feint to possibly bait your opponent out of shield, and since Fox has such great burst speed, you can punish them pretty hard for being impatient in the corner. Back air can be good to edgeguard with as well if they're a character with an exploitable recovery, or if you catch them sleeping at the wheel off stage. Do keep in mind this is at your own risk, as it is very slow to recover, and it could leave you vulnerable off stage if you miss. If you want to stay on stage, you can just ledge trap with it as previously mentioned, or use it after a ledge trump to possibly catch your opponent off guard. They can avoid being trumped by DIing in toward the stage, or buffering a ledge option if they're ready for it, so only use it as a mix-up between your ledge trapping. Like neutral air, it's important that you use different jump heights along with your fall speed to mix up your timing so you can space around your opponent, or try to cross them up. Changing between the two moves can make yourself really unpredictable against your opponent, whether you're ledge trapping or in the neutral. It's relatively safe on shield at -4 when done close to the ground, so characters without a fast out of shield option will most likely have to respect it, or they risk getting hit by another fast option. Back air is a vital tool in many different combos as well, and it can even be attack cancelled to further extend Fox's combo potential. More combos will be shown in that section later on. If you want to learn how to attack cancel, make sure to watch My Smash Corner's video on it, which is linked in the description below. Up air is another key tool in Fox's moveset. It's great at racking up damage in a hurry due to its ability to combo into itself and its other aerials, and it's even more deadly when you add in platforms. It is why Fox can be so scary on stages with platforms, as you'll be able to shark under your opponent and put pressure on them, or possibly juggle them all the way to the top blast zone. It also has decent kill power as well, which could help you steal stock if your opponent isn't careful. There is a chance the second hit will miss if you drift too far with the first hit, so make sure you're under your opponent as much as possible to prevent this from happening. An important thing to do with up air is to auto cancel it, which can help it give it some true combo potential, and can even lead to frame traps if your opponent air dodges. You can also use it in a similar fashion to back air as a feint to possibly bait them out of shield while still covering a jump at the same time. To get the auto cancel, you want to input the move as soon as you start your jump, which can make the timing somewhat tight. The first hit of up air can also combo into an up smash at high percent, and due to it having fixed knockback, your opponent will always pop up at the same distance, which will let you combo into other moves as well. This isn't very practical to go for though, as the range is rather lacking, and it's unsafe if it gets blocked. Down air is a multi-hit drill kick that can be used as a mix-up between neutral air if your opponent is defending it well. It can hit them if they're not patient in shield, and even if they parry the first hit, there's no real gap in between the rest of the move for them to get a punish. The landing hitbox can lead to a combo at mid-percent, and can even combo into an up smash at high percent for a kill confirm. It isn't as consistent as neutral air for the kill confirm since your opponent can DI away, but it still can lead to a tech chase situation if you're ready for it. Like neutral air, make sure to always notice how far away you are from your opponent before pulling the trigger on up smash. Down air in general is an inconsistent move since your opponent does have a chance to fall out, even more so in the air, but it does work better against bigger body characters since they have less room to fall out. Despite the inconsistencies, it can still give you some reward if you land it, but it is unsafe on shield if your opponent blocks the whole move, so don't be reckless with it. You can possibly avoid getting punished by crossing your opponent up, or auto-canceling it by full hopping. You can increase the safety on shield of it by doing so, and full hopping it can also be used to anti-air your opponent despite its range. It will allow you to get a combo at low and mid percent if it connects, but it does leave you open to getting anti-aired yourself. Down air can also be used to get off the ledge similarly to forward air since it comes out 2 frames faster than it, and it can possibly lead to a combo if you land it. However, as stated before, it lacks range, so don't overdo it since it has the same counterplay. Lasers are Fox's way to get some chip damage from afar. While it's nowhere near the neutral tool of its melee counterpart, it can still make the opponent want to block it, or approach if the damage builds up, but do keep in mind that characters that are short or have low crouches can go under them to avoid getting hit. If you're at a decent range from your opponent, they could come in unsafely, which can give you the time to avoid their attack and get a punish. This does depend on their character's speed though, so understand who you are fighting against before using them. Fox also has slightly less startup and end lag when he shoots in the air, so it can be good to get some small chip damage if your opponent is far off stage. The downside with lasers is that they don't cause flinching, so they can run through them and punish you for being too close, so only use them from far away or if they're respecting you. Lasers are also great for punishing shield breaks or high end lag moves such as Jigglypuff's Rest, and the closer you are, the more damage it tacks on. If you get in this situation, make sure to use them, as it can possibly make a difference between taking a stock or not for your punish. Reflector, or Shine as it's usually called, is the reason why Fox does great against a lot of projectile-based characters. With it having a frame 3 startup combined with Fox's rushdown playstyle, he can give headaches for this general archetype. When he reflects a projectile, he's able to roll, spot dodge, or jump out of it, which can help keep you close to your opponent or stay away from them. Do be careful though, your opponent can just simply wait and bait you out if they feel like you're going to use it, which can leave Fox wide open to a hefty punish due to its slow recovery. Shine also has other uses outside of reflecting projectiles. It can be used to edgeguard characters with mediocre recoveries, or when they have no resources left to recover. Like lasers, it is far from its melee counterpart. but it still has its fair share of decent knockback at high percent. It does leave you open to a reversal if you miss, so be careful going for shine edgeguards in general. It can also be used to stall yourself in the air while you're on stage, or to mix up your recovery when you're off stage, but it can only be done in the air once, and using it more than once will make Fox drop like a rock, so do keep note of that. Shine can be used as a panic move to escape strings where Neutral couldn't, due to its startup speed and having intangibility on frame 2, so using it can potentially stop your opponent's momentum. It is technically your fastest out of shield option as well, but you're better off using Neutral almost all the time since you're at less risk of leaving yourself open. Illusion is one of 2 ways for Fox to recover. He's able to change the distance on how far he goes depending on if you hold forward, back, or do nothing, which can help you avoid getting edgeguarded. With it going horizontally, it makes Fox very exploitable off stage, and the slow startup only makes this more of a problem, which is why it's crucial to mix it up in any way you can. If your opponent gets hit by Illusion, it will always send them at an upward angle, which you can possibly follow up on if you're in the right position. Fox is also capable of skipping through some attacks and clanking with them, but don't rely on this happening too much because if it gets blocked, Fox is stopped right in its tracks, leaving him open right in front of your opponent. They can also meet you at the spot where you're going to be if you try to recover on stage, which can get you heavily punished. While it can occasionally work to go on stage if they're not ready for it, it is still a bad habit that can easily be punished at higher levels of play if done predictably. Other ways to mix it up can be simply going to the ledge, using platforms to land, recovering high, or changing your distance as previously mentioned. This can all be counterplayed if any of them are done predictably, so it is important to notice your opponent's movement and positioning before you recover. Make sure not to use your double jump in bad spots. It's a crucial resource to have due to Fox's poor air mobility, so you want to preserve it the best you can. Also, be careful not to use Illusion in the side blast zones while you're reeling. You will drift towards it and lose your stock if you do so try not to rush recovering if you get knocked far into the blast zone. Despite this move's glaring flaws, it can still have some on-stage uses such as being a niche burst option. Grounded Illusion will always send the opponent straight up, so it can occasionally be good for catching your opponent laxing. If it connects at the end of it, it can combo into pretty much all of his aerials, and you can also use it to tech chase with since it covers a lot of ground. By itself, it can take a stock at extremely high percent, but it is very risky due to its lack of safety, so it's not best to go for unless you're absolutely struggling to get the stock. Firefox lets Fox change his recovery in all 8 directions, plus anything in between. Since Illusion does not put Fox in freefall, this is usually going to be your final resort for recovering. Even though it goes a good amount of distance, it still leaves Fox very open to edgeguards, due to it being just as linear as Illusion, while being a lot slower than it. It is important to mix up between the two, as doing one of them in situations where your opponent expects the other can possibly throw off their edgeguard attempt. If you do find yourself low in the blast zone, there is a good chance of you losing your stock against a sharp opponent, but always be ready to attack just in case you get hit into the stage. In most cases, you want to try to angle it the best you can, or use Shine to stall so you can possibly prevent getting hit altogether. The hitbox for Firefox is also quite large, so if they mess up their edgeguard, they can get punished for it, and possibly even lose their stock if they get stage spiked. Though this is mainly a recovery move, it does have offensive capabilities as well. You can use it to edgeguard recoveries with no hitbox since they'll have no way to hit you out of it, and this can net a big chunk of damage, doing well over 30% if all the hits connect. Another way to use Firefox is for some niche shield pressure. This does a massive amount of shield damage, and generally opponents who fight against Fox will want the shield. So if you're feeling bold, you can go for it to possibly shield poke them, or even break their shield. This is a bit of a gimmick though, as your opponent can't spot dodge before the last hit comes out if their shield is still pretty healthy, and they can also just move out of the way if they're not stuck in shield. The end lag on it while you're grounded is actually deceptively low, so it can be pretty tricky to punish if you go away from your opponent. Still, this is risky to do since it could leave you wide open if you miss, and you have safer options like back air to use instead, so it is not really meant to go for unless you want to do a very obscure mix-up. Throws are definitely one of the weakest parts of Fox's game, but they can still be put to good use in terms of winning neutral and establishing position. While going for grabs can be risky in general, mixing them in as Fox is key since your opponent may be inclined to stay in shield more often against him than other characters. Forward throw is good for setting up tech chases at mid to high percent, similarly to forward tilt. It won't put your opponent in this situation until above 40%, but the throw is still good for keeping on the pressure while on stage, and it can give you a jab block setup if they miss the tech. This is also Fox's strongest throw, but it won't KO until around 200% at the ledge when you don't include rage. More often than not, you'll be using it to reset the situation for your ledge trapping. Back throw is Fox's worst throw due to it hardly having any kind of utility or KO power. Like forward throw, it is mainly used to throw your opponent off stage if your back is to the ledge, but it has extremely weak knockback and sends them at a high angle. It can sometimes be used to put your opponent on a platform and possibly continue pressure, but this is very situational. It's generally best to avoid this throw since it has little to no uses compared to its other ones. Up throw is Fox's best throw since it gives him good position. It sends the opponent directly above him, which is generally where he wants them to be, and while you can't combo off of it, this could still be used well against characters that struggle to land, or you can use it to read your opponent's next option. If they come down unsafely, you can simply dash out of the way or shield their attack, and if you throw them while under a platform, you could just wait for them to potentially land unsafely on it. Even if they jump away, it is still forcing them to use a resource, which can give Fox the chance to follow them around the stage and continue the pressure. Your opponent could also react slowly after getting thrown, and it can give you the chance to follow up with a move like up air. Up throw is definitely something you should be using whenever you do get a grab on your opponent. Down throw can be used similarly to up throw when it comes to position, but it sends them at more of an angle. Fox's speed can make up for this since he can quickly get under your opponent and read how they may land or skate. If your opponent DIs it poorly, you may be able to get potential follow-ups, so make sure to notice where they get sent so you can possibly catch them off guard. You can also use it at the ledge if you want to put them slightly off stage, so you can choose between this and forward throw to either put them at an upward angle or put them further off stage. Fox is a glass cannon character that's all about staying close to his opponent with his high ground and fall speed and quick overall buttons. These are key to his game plan in the neutral, as it can let him play a reactive playstyle while getting around his opponent's threat ranges and attacking in quick bursts. They also greatly help with his attack timings, damage potential, and general movement in ways some characters can't match. However, rushing him blindly will not work all the time, as characters with big hitboxes, disjoints, or top-notch out of shield options will not let him pressure them for free. This is where Fox has to mix in playing a bit more passive before he's able to put the pressure on, by using his movement to bait and punish, lasers to try and force approaches, or shine to deal with projectiles. Also, since Fox's strings are considered to be mostly mix-ups after he gets a hit, it is important for him to be in a position to where he can get a follow-up by reading or reacting to his opponent's defensive options. Once he racks up the damage, he has strong kill moves such as up smash to close out stocks, which is further aided by being able to confirm into it with neutral air. But since he does not have any throws that kill, nor that he can combo off of, opponents will turtle up and shield more often against him. This means Fox needs to mix up with grabs, feints, and safe shield pressure to make his options ambiguous as possible, and to make his opponents second guess when he will come in so that he can make taking stocks less difficult. Now that Fox can use his shield more reliably after having it fixed in a previous patch, he can rely a bit more on his block punishment since he will not get shield poked as easily. Off stage wise, Fox has a lengthy but a very linear and exploitable recovery. Due to his low survivability, he needs to mix up his recovery the best he can so that he can give himself more chances to take advantage of his great on-stage game. When he's able to stay mostly on stage, he has the potential to put his opponent in a vortex by not giving them time to think about their options with his mix-up, juggling, and ledge trapping ability, and that is where he's at his scariest and his best. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was very informative to anyone that may look to pick him up in some way. This video took a lot of time to make, so if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. Also, make sure to check out the players listed if you want to see more Fox gameplay and their own ways of playing him. Until then, I'll see y'all next time.